candid conversations, unfiltered opinions, and humor with Abeg Vex Podcast.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's podcast. I have the privilege of having with me Marina Morgan. Marina is such a beautiful soul, and you guys will get to see what I'm talking about. She's so brilliant. So Marina is a business psychologist, and she has worked in Silicon Valley. She's here to share really juicy stuff. So if you're an entrepreneur, you run a business, or you're a manager, C-suite, it doesn't matter. You will learn something about leadership and business from Marina. So let's jump in and have this beautiful conversation. Marina, welcome.
Hello, I'm so happy to be here and really appreciate for the invitation. I'm inspired in the things that you are doing, and I'm really so happy to be a part of this and to be the guest on the podcast. And hi for everyone. I really hope that this meeting will be very useful for you, or maybe if not useful, you will just spend your time in an amazing way.
Absolutely. Thank you, Marina. I'm very grateful that you're here. I'm thankful that you made time to talk to us, our audience, and to share the many things that you know about starting business, being in the business world, and doing your best to succeed. Because most people go into business, or most people, take on managerial roles to succeed. However, most struggle. So if we can learn, let us learn from one another. So what really interested you into going into business specifically? The other things that you could have done with your life, law, medicine, whatever. What about business attracted you?
So I have a master's degree in organizational psychology, and then I was in university. We have a choice what trajectory you can prefer. It can be, as you told, absolutely correctly, you can be a psychologist in the medicine area. You can work in person like a therapist. But since then, I was so attracted to this idea that business is a global system that created by people, with the people, and every personality that's involved in any kind of organization creates some kind of an impact for this. And it is so interesting to work with the organization like with the client. So my clients is not the people, but they're people's community that engage with the global goal that we are share. And this is really interesting for me. The another part of this, I suppose, when I was young, of course, I was very ambitious. And I love the idea that I can provide some kind of the impact for something really global, interesting. And, I had a blended career. So I started my entrepreneurship journey when I was 18 years old, and my first business was washing windows in the city where I was born. So we did a very simple thing. We just put announcement everywhere, we can wash your windows. And we got so much calls, and maybe a week or after or something like that, we already have enough money to buy stuff and to hire another students for this job. And I really became, the head of empire. Okay, I'm just kidding. But it was so impressive. It was so impressive when you just find the thing that people really need. It's absolutely not a problem to earn some money, to have a business. And this dynamic of entrepreneurship also was very attractive to me. So also I had an experience in corporative career. I worked in big companies, the biggest company where I was the head of talent development department. It was maybe 300,000 people there. And it was the biggest company in the country where I was born in Russia in TMT industry, technologies, media, and telecom. And I worked with a really very interesting global projects. And that's what brought me to Silicon Valley. The desire to scale in my companies. And I came here just for a business trip. And just then I got here, I felt that I belong to this place because these innovations, ambitions, really resonate with me. So I think, I don't think that to be the part of some company or create your own company, some choice is better, some are worse. Absolutely not. It depends of what you want. It depends of your ambitions. It depends of what fits you best. And doesn't matter, are you creating your own business? I'm thinking about any aspects of my career, like my own business, even if I worked in a company, in a big company or small company, because every time whatever you do, any project that you are managing, you're doing it for yourself. It develops you. That is a space where you can realize, when you can develop, where you can create. Doesn't matter what you're doing. Even you are just, a counter lawyer, or you may be tech professional, or maybe you work in some kind of non-profit company. you're really developing yourself and you're creating something for this world and for the society where we live in. And I think it's really amazing.
I love it. That is so cool. And you said a few things while you were talking, and those points kept coming up. One is the global aspect of something. And then the other is to find what is needed. When you talked about your window cleaning, business at 18, right? So how important is it for anybody, whether they're managing in an already established company or they're an entrepreneur scaling their own business, how important is it to think of a global mindset when it comes to impact? And also, in thinking in that global mindset, what are the avenues a person can take to really understand the pain point of their customer base or their consumer base? Because I feel like, a lot of people get stuck in the premise of casting a wider net. I know early on in my career as an entrepreneur, I wanted to service everybody, right? And that can be very exhausting, right? So I can still serve a global audience, but can niche down. And that is more, for me, more manageable, given that, my company is still growing. So how important is it for somebody to think globally and also think about understanding what their customers or consumer base need?
It's really great questions, and thank you so much for asking about it. Because, in the business industry, there was a season, then it maybe was 10 years ago, maybe a little bit even earlier, when all the consultants or some influencers in this area told you should to think about your mission. You should to fix the mission of your own mission or the mission of your company. And you should think about the global impact, and you should to think about your company. I don't know, something like what will make you a unicorn in 10 years or something like that. This is the main questions that investors are typically asking about. Mm-hmm. But the reality is that different research in my own practice with my clients shows us that the best way to achieve the success is to feel the same enjoyment of the process of your journey, the same level of the enjoyment like you feel when you got your results. So the thing when we are just thinking about some really, really big and global, make us focusing on the results, because it can be really tough, and it can be a really tough challenge to create something that will disrupt the market. And also there was some kind of, a joke in the Silicon Valley when everybody at the end of their pitch says something like, that's how I will make the world better. And you try to, try to bring your pitch to this point. And the reality is that the thing that we are really enjoying every day, not only one time per year when we achieve the great goal, but every day, based on this strategy, based on this signs from your body, from your personality, you really have a great chance to create something great and to achieve a great goals. And the reality is that some people feel the enjoyment then we created something only for their neighborhood. You understand what I'm talking about? Only for the people that you have connection with, who means a lot for you. And you're just starting, for example, with a local bakery because you love to bake, and also you are enjoying the idea that every morning your neighbors, people who are around you, they will come to the coffee shop and they will take their coffee with something that you made by your own hands. And I know a lot of different cases like this. And step by step, you are developing and providing this thing and this hospitality to more group of people, but you really don't have an ambition to become the best baker in the world or something like that. There are a lot of people who really inspiring and motivating themselves by something big, by some kind of the global impact. I think, answering for your question, like to summarize it, I think that you shouldn't go to this trap. I mean, to the trap of the big goals that make you feel exhausted and feel tough. And the main question for that, any entrepreneur or any person who wants to provide some change in their he or she life should to answer what I'm really enjoying to do. What's really important for me. And it sounds not original, but there is some trick thing here. I always suggest for my followers or for my clients two exercises. I will share it if you will allow me.
Yes, please.
The first thing, you need to create a list with 100 absolutely different things that make you feel enjoyment. And it should be something very, very simple. Simple, like, for example, I'm enjoying the blossoming of the flowers. I'm enjoying the sound of the birds singing. I love the moment that I'm waking up and open the window and feeling the breath of this fresh air. It should be very, very simple things. And also in this list, you should put some more global things. Like, for example, I love the feeling of the ocean if you're not living in front of the ocean. I love the moment when my clients achieve the goals with my support, something bigger. And when you have this list in front of you, the next step that you should do is to plan 5-10 minutes every day that you will dedicate for your enjoyment. And this is very important for any person, includes the entrepreneur, because our ability to enjoy something, this is very important neurophysiological mechanism. And every person, every one of us have their personal enjoyment list because our body knows what we really need right now. Simple example, somebody loves oysters, somebody hates them because it's really not fit with your chemistry, or fits perfectly. Your preferences can change, or somebody loves onions, somebody hates. Somebody can really be a brilliant swimmer, and somebody can be a brilliant basketball player because you have your genetic, you have your fit that really have great connection with these specific activities. And it's really useless to think about what is my mission, what is my strategy, if you don't know the answer for these simple things. For this simple question, what make me feel enjoy in everyday simple activities? So the first step you should do, you should plan your week schedule and put the slots for the enjoyment. And another important things, you should to start the practice, the choices for the enjoyment from the very simple steps. Like, for example, you're going to the grocery store. What is your favorite grocery store, by the way?
My favorite grocery store, I would say Lidl.
Lidl.
Yeah.
Cool. I love it. I love it too. Okay, you're coming to the Lidl and you have some ideas what you want to eat, for example, today. But give you just half of the minute. Stand in front of the, fruit basket and ask yourself, what I want more today? Apple, banana, orange. You typically know about yourself that you love bananas, for example. But just give yourself this half of the moment and imagine the taste of all these fruits in your mouth. And those that you will be attracted more, put it to your basket. And we should start with the very, very simple steps to learn our nervous system to make a choice through the enjoyment. And just simple things. What I will prefer, coming home by car, or I want to walk, or I want to do it by bicycle, or I want to have a ride on the bus because I really want it right now. And in spite I have a car, it doesn't matter. I just want this experience. But you should make this choice through put it in your mouth, This is a metaphor, of course. And to feel this whole body, yes. And day by day, you can teach yourself to do it. And day by day, make these choices more complicated. And what will you do? What will you achieve? You will learn in an amazing way your personal signals that your body provides you when you have a best choice in these circumstances, in this moment, for this your condition. And when you know these signals, in a situation when you need to make a really complicated decision, in the situation when you don't have enough information, or you need to do it very quickly and you don't have the time for analysis to work with the complicated or big amount of the information, you already will do the best choice because you know the signals of your body and you will use all the resources that you have. And the important thing here that the endorphin, what we have in our body when we experience this enjoyment, it influences our dopamine level. And dopamine is something that we really need to don't feel procrastinated, to have this high level of motivation of our long-term journey. Because entrepreneurship is not it's not 1 hour play. You know it. You absolutely know this. This is a long distance. This is the marathon, and this is the marathon with the obstacles. And any entrepreneur facing with the all shit that can happen. So sorry for saying this,
No,
but it's true.
real.
Everything will broken. Your camera will not working. Your counter will disappear suddenly. Entrepreneurs should know that all the bad things that you can even imagine will definitely happen with you at the last moment, and you're not expected it. And you can plan everything well. You can hire the best people. You can even, have some kind of just savings, and you plan for as the advisors told you, please have some kind of the savings for the half of the year. you will lose everything in the first several months because you didn't think about, for example, that you need to open the restaurant and you need to spend for the marketing, because in the first day of your opening, nobody will come to your restaurant without it. So, and you should really understand it. And if you don't feel everyday enjoyment in the things that you are doing in your business, you will not win. And that's the reason why 9 startups for the 10 just disappear very fast. And we know these stats. In the perspective of 10 years, only 3% of the company are surviving. So the numbers is not very impressive. And in any way of your development, are you an entrepreneur? Are you want to become an entrepreneur? Are you just want to pivot in your career? You want to maybe start something new? It doesn't matter. The main thing that you should know about yourself is what really make my body to feel all of this stuff, to feel that I'm relaxed, I'm really attracted to this. And just please start it with the little small things. And also, if you will need to recharge, to refresh, these enjoyment tools will be very, very helpful for you. And it's not just, some kind of myth from my side. The strong neurophysiology approach is under that. And I made a lot of different research and also on myself, on my clients. And it's worked in a brilliant way. It's impressed entrepreneurs every time because we learn absolutely all things that you can even imagine, but not thinking about our enjoyment. We're learning how to be the best, how to compete, how to, make the market analysis, how to think about the product market fit. We know all this stuff, but we don't know the main thing, what to do with the main resource on the journey, myself, and managing my level of involvement and motivation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. That was so good, Marina. That this thing with entrepreneurs, because we wear so many hats and we're managing so many things and we're constantly looking at analytics and this and competitors and ways to tweak things, that even the sound of anything enjoyable can always come with guilt, right? Why am I relaxed right now? Is there something I should be looking into? But wait, why am I not busy? Like, we get ourselves and a nervous system so worked up and so aligned with always being charged that, it is not uncommon to find entrepreneurs with some degree of anxiety, right? Because there's a lot of guilt that comes with that relaxation. So how can a business owner who's listening to you right now, Marina, is like, yes, I hear all of that. I can make this list and I'm looking at this list. How do I not feel guilty when I am incorporating all these beautiful, simple, natural things that recharges me without feeling guilty?
Okay. So there's 2 things here. The first thing is about the guilt. Yes, this is the feeling what all of us experience, guilt and shame. And the important thing about the guilt, what we should always keep in our mind, that guilt is always something that came inside of us from the outside. It was a moment in your life, then somebody, it can be your parents because they really want the best for you. They took care about you. They need this tool, to take care about you and growing up, you're like a healthy person. For example, when you want to, I don't know, eat some kind of plastic, yes, they say, oh my God, what are you doing? You're a good girl or a good boy. Good girls are not eating the plastic. Please put it down. Or it can be society with another purposes. So idea of the guilt always includes in this that somebody at some moment explained you that this way of thinking, this way of acting, these choices is something bad. Right. And the first thing that we need to think always critically about the guilt, where did it come from? Yeah. I mean, when was the moment in my life when I decided that this is bad and I need to feel bad feelings about it? And was it really my decision? How did I know this? How did I get this? Just you can make the simple audit, and you always should keep in your mind that guilty is always something that came outside because somebody explained it to you for their purposes, not for yours. As I told you, society, cultural regulation, government regulation, whatever you want, you know your answer for this question, depends on. And another thing here, for the statistic, 72% of entrepreneurs facing with different mental health issues. And there is 2 things here also. The first thing is that nervous system of entrepreneurs is more vulnerable for a list of different disorders like bipolar disorder, depression, anxiety, different forms of addiction, and groups of entrepreneurs are typically twice or even more times often experience these things than the average population, because the things that make us great, brave, responsible, allow us to have this high level of emotional intelligence that's important for the managing people. The flip side of this is there is specific organization of the nervous system that make us very vulnerable for these disorders. And you also should just know it about yourself. I have a video about the dark side of the entrepreneurs where we're speaking about all of the statistics. And also you will easily find it in the Google. What's the specific of the entrepreneurs' mental health and mental health issues. So you just should know about yourself that you should take care about your condition twice more than any average people around you. And if you feel anxiety or something like that, the first thing that you should do, and this is very important to understand, that our physical condition is the first. Our interpretation of it, our ideas that our mind brought to us is the second in this line. I mean, we feel anxiety not because tomorrow will be some kind of a pitch presentation. We feel anxiety because we have too much cortisol in our system, and that's the real answer for this. And the first thing that you need to do is to just think about how can I physically reduce the amount of the cortisol in my body. Good decision. You can just take a bottle of water and go for a walk. Breathe deeply, and just to help your body to leave out the products of all of these catecholamines things. Right. So, and we are typically thinking that the reason why we feel nervous is some outside circumstances. But the reality is that we are experiencing biochemically and also physiologically, and we can easily help ourselves through this neurophysiology. And when you understand this concept, when you understand that if you feel really good, if you sleep well, you have a rest, you will accept the reality like an amazing space of different opportunities, just because you have enough serotonin and dopamine in your body, and it will influence for your focus, because that's how our focus is working. Yeah. It's analyzing our condition, it's analyzing circumstances, and just showing us those paths that have the best match with our inside condition and outside circumstances. And on the other hand, if you didn't sleep well for a long time, you're not allowing yourself to have some rest, you feel guilty when you even have a 5-minute rest or even 10 minutes, and you every time thinking, oh my god, I can make some extra call for a client, I can check what my team did or something like that. When you prefer it for your rest, this level of cortisol and other things will rising up in your body. It had a great damage for our prefrontal cortex, and the prefrontal cortex is that through what we are making some amazing strategic decision, and we have an ability to analyze different choices and different strategies, because the cortisol really physiologically damaging this part. And when you understand it, that this is level of that cortisol, for example, in the same reality, will focus you on the bad things, on the dangerous, of the some negative scenarios, and will avoid the positive scenarios. And you lost this ability to be objective here and to have some kind of the balance, analyzing the best things and the good things, the pro and contra, the advantages and some obstacles. When you understand it, you started to think about yourself like about the best tool of the decision making, and you making this like a priority. So I think, to summarize the thing that I told, thinking about the guilty, remember that it's always something outside of you. It is always was a moment when somebody explained you that you need to feel guilt because. Right. It's not only with the business field, it's only with our personal life, for example. I don't know, I have a lot of clients who are, for example, keeping themselves in the not very good relationship because they have an idea that to get divorced is the worst things that you can do. And you are trying to manage, your business or your career, taking care about your kids, and also being in a relationship that don't really make you happy because somebody a long time ago told you that you should to do it. And if you will, divorce, for example, it will be the biggest guilt in your life. And the same with any relationship, includes clients, includes employees, whatever. This is the first part. And another part, you should understand that your condition, your physiological condition, influence more than anything else for your ability to make the best decision and to think strategically. And when you're in the best condition, you will guarantee have the best scenario that is available for you right now in your reality, in those circumstances where you are. And the reality is that we are not able to take under control whole world around us because, the black swans, the political situation can change dramatically, economical aspects, technologies, something that we will not have any influence for can suddenly happen with us. As we told a couple of minutes ago about everything bad that can happen.
True.
But the real thing that is always in our hand is our condition. And this is the only one thing that we can really take under control to be the best tool of the managing our life, of the decision making, and to be the best tool that enables to feel happiness. And when you feel happy, there is no place for guilt. There is only place to understand that here I am. This is only one life that I have. I understand that whatever I do right now, I do my best.
That is so good. The statistics, that you gave about entrepreneurs in, some form of mental illness, that is staggering. And that is, it's such a sad, but a much needed truth because we focus on the business sometimes and we forget ourselves, right? I wondered, Marina, can you draw a correlation between the guilt one might feel with relaxation or self-care and procrastination? Do they operate together or kind of antagonistic in nature?
So there are several physiological reasons for procrastination, and people can understand procrastination. There are simple things when you're really tired and you don't have fuel in your engine. And for example, if you feel that you don't interested in anything and the only one thing that you want is just to lay on the bed and you don't have ability just to make yourself to do something, it can be a sign that your nervous system is really deeply tired and deeply need to have some rest. And if you will not give it to yourself, the next station can be the depression station. And this is serious. Another reason for procrastination can be you don't have enough dopamine in your system, and endorphins that you have during the enjoyment experience is the best source of the dopamine. And this is the great correlation here. And this is very simple. When we are living the life that we like, we want to act more. We want to do something more to continue this journey because it's really amazing. And the funny thing, a lot of people know that they, for example, need to create the strategy or check some analytics or, finish the project. But instead of this, you're starting to washing all the drawers in your apartment that you have, taking care about the clothes or watch the TV show or do whatever you want, but not the thing that you need to do. Why we're acting this way? We trying to increase the dopamine level by those tools that more available for us right now. Because, for example, creating some analytics need from us much more resources. And the result of it, where we can get this dopamine achievement, is far away from us in the moment when we don't have enough dopamine. But for example, if you will wash the plates, suddenly you decided to wash all the plates that you have. The result of this activity is closer to us, and we will have this dopamine rewarding at the end of this shortcut, right? And that's what we're trying to do. We keep in mind our main task. We don't have enough dopamine to do it. And we're just trying to find it in another sources, using some kind of social media that really briefly increasing the dopamine level, but not very good influence to hold the system. Or we're trying to do something simple, like taking care suddenly about all stuff what you don't really need for a long time in your life, in your house. And you should know about yourself, how you can increase your dopamine level, and just do it. It can be some cold shower, for example, or it can be a short walk, or you also can find brief exercises for increasing the dopamine level. And there are a lot of different information about the dopamine and how to keep dopamine. I can really share with you very interesting information about what's going on with our dopamine system and why it's not a very useful strategy to think only about the results and don't think about the processes. And I have a lot of cases with the clients who facing with the burnout because they didn't know about it. So this is about the procrastination. Two main reasons. Your nervous system is already exhausted and you're tied so deeply then when you need the rest. Another situation is easier to think to fix it is you don't have right now enough dopamine to achieve the goal. And speaking about the guilt, I can say that there is 100% correlation, but the correlation here exists. Because what is the guilt? Is the complex feeling that combining some stimulus that coming out of us, I mean the analysis of the situation where we experience it, and comparing this information with some values, with some ideas, with some core things, our core beliefs that we have inside of us. And when we are matching what we need to do from in our expectation or what we in reality do, we see this gap, and that's how we feel guilt. Or, for example, if, I don't know, it's about anything. It's about the relationship, it's about the choices. It's even about the moment when you don't have enough energy to do something you know that you need to do, and the only one thing that you feel about it is a guilt. Experience of guilt can be the sign of depression, if to be honest. And here we can see the stronger correlation in the first scenario that I described you when we spoke about procrastination. Because it's always start this ideas that I'm not good enough. And you can experience this idea, not simple like this, but also having the illusion that you really can act in another way than you really act in this situation. Because believe me, if you could act in another way in those situations where person in her or his opinion act in a bad way, you will be able to do it. If you are not able to do it, this is your reality. And if you don't want to accept this reality and you really have an imaginable idea that I can do something better in this situation, this is the illusion, because if you could, you will. You need to understand that in any moment of our life, we acting in the best way that's available for us right now. I do my best, and you should understand about it. And coming to the depression, coming to this point, it's so sad, to be honest, to think about it, because I know what's going on with people. There are talented people, best of us experience it. It started with the thought that I'm not good enough, because you have this idea that I can do something better, and I didn't, and that's why I'm not good enough, because I didn't do it. And this is already can be a sign that your nervous system is, not in the best condition right now. The next step here is that not good enough in general way, not only in your professional field, for example. I'm not a good person generally. And you started to think about it deeper and deeper, and anything that happened around you, you start and experience it through this prism of your guilt, that this is because of me. I don't know, my mom feel bad because of me, my company is not very successful because of me, I don't know, something awful happened in my neighborhood because of me. And the next step of this, I mean, if you're listening us and if you already experienced it, then everything that happened around you, you're interpret inside of you for the point that this is because of me, something bad happened because of me. This can be a sign of the very deep phase of depression, and you need help at that moment. It's serious. Because the next step here will be the world will be better without me, because I'm the reason of everything bad things that happen. And if you already have thoughts like this, you understand what will be the next step, right? What can I do to make the world a better place without me? You really need help, and you need to call for the hotline for the people who are facing with the depression, or you can request the help, whatever you want. If somebody close to you experience something like that, for example, I don't know, your spouse, your close friend, you see that his energy level becoming slower and slower, lower and lower. And when you discuss different things, you see that your friends or your partner say something like, it's because of me. All of this is my fault. And those things that absolutely don't his fault or your fault. You need to help this person to request some professional help, because this is very serious. It's not jokes. And entrepreneurs facing with the depression 4 times more often than the average people. And also the 11% of entrepreneurs facing with bipolar disorder. And this phases there when you have the period when you think, oh my God, I will do everything great. I will be the champion. And after that, you have a long period when you don't feeling for anything. So just think about the numbers.
That swing, that manic, swing. Yeah.
Absolutely. Think about the numbers. 11% of entrepreneurs facing these things, and only 1% in average population have the bipolar disorder. So we have as an entrepreneurs, we have very specific organization of the dopamine system. And that's what make us, as I told, very brave, very, tolerant to the risk, very creative, very innovative. But at the same thing, we have this sensitive moments, and we need to think about it. So this is the main correlation where we need to think about it, because guilt can be the result of the exhausted. But if this is just a concept in your head, and you have some guilt for the small amount of situation that's really, maybe you really didn't do your best and you want to choose something, I more like the conception of the responsibility. And for example, in the relationship with my husband, I just learned him to avoid the guilt concept. I explained it to him and I told you, you're never guilt for anything, because I believe that you always act in your best way. You do what you can. This is not your fault that you had this nervous system, this experience, the family where you grow up, the culture that influenced for you when you grown up. This is not your fault. You didn't choose it. You just was born in this place, in these circumstances. And I believe that you do your best. But if it's something that don't really good for our relationship or for our common goals, we just need to change the approach and take our responsibilities. This is my responsibility. This is yours. Just let's do something with that. And the same thing with my employees. So we're not using words, excuse me, sorry me, this is my guilt, etc. We're never using it. And my employees are always so surprised. And for example, they fucked up and they, right, I'm so deeply sorry, please. Because for me, I don't want that they feel something like this. I want that they took the responsibility of how I can fix it. And the only one thing that I ask them about is, if you really fucked up, come to me, say about it honestly, and next to it, suggest the several strategies how you will fix it. And this is the only thing that I need. I don't need, to feel like I punish you or say, oh, you really not did your best. What's the point? Who will win from it? Just fix it. And that's it.
I love it. I love that analogy, because it's funny talking about it, but in the real world, whether you're an entrepreneur or you're leading a team, if you lead from a place of guilting people every time they make a mistake, then you're going to either lose people or you're going to have people who are not willing to take risk. Right? Because in you risking, you're going to make mistakes. That's when you find out how to avoid those mistakes, right? It's life. You're going to falter if you focus on guilting people and making people feel bad without, come to me with answers. What can you do? What can you, what are the fixes? How can we go about this? Life is trial and error. Unfortunately or fortunately for us, we have to try different things and lead from a place of empathy. Would you like somebody to beat you over the head with your mistakes? Or would you like somebody to say, okay, that has happened. What did you learn? Where can we go from here? It's just that simple. It really is. So something that I was going to ask you in the beginning, but, in you talking about, the depression and enjoying the journey, I'll have to ask you this because you have your experience at Silicon Valley. So I'm also a tech founder. And, in that space, it can be a boiling room or boiler room of sort, because when you think about pitching, right? Everybody wants to see, your analysis, your projection, 5 years from here, 20 years from here, what impact are you making? What are the pain points? And all of those things are projection into the future. All of those things are not things that make you focus on the journey, the here, the now, right? Everything is kind of like, if I'm going to invest all this money into your technology, into your software, you have to show me and tell me what it will look like for me in the future, right? So in that kind of a situation where it is a need, that is just one industry. There are other industries like that, where it is a need and a tradition of sort in a certain aspect of the career or the entrepreneurship journey. How can a person better manage that without being overwhelmed by it and, being pulled into a place of, I don't want to call it despair, because it can be discouraging, especially for people who are going at this alone. For people who have partners, it's a little easier to share the burden, right? So how can a person better navigate an industry that is projecting in nature as opposed to the journey in the here and now.
Okay, so you're absolutely right. Our conversation with the investors creating some kind of, tough situation of entrepreneur. Because the first thing you need to sell and to, fake it till you make it. You need to speak about how brilliant your startup it is, how brilliant you are, what an amazing future waiting for all of us. And then you're coming back to your team and when you don't have enough money to spend for the license tomorrow. And it's creating really, a really awful gap inside of you when you 1 hour ago just drawing all this picture and that reality is that you don't have a $20 tomorrow to continue the license for the Zoom, for example. And this is the reality. And it's really, it's really create this great gap inside of entrepreneur and make them feel guilt that I'm just selling some not something real. I'm just selling there. And another thing that you thinking, you're right. The investors, they are waiting for that you will answer for the question how you will become the unicorn in the next 10 years.
Yeah.
And here's just several tips that I can share with you. The first tips, you need to separate your business from your personality. Your business is not you. Your business is just your business. It's just business. Because most of my clients, one of the way why they burn out is because then, for example, their company became cheaper. They feel it like I became cheaper. My investors or the market don't want to give me a good price. And your business is not you. And you will win if you will, at the start, will separate these two things. And in reality, it's very, very difficult because if you want to succeed your startup, if you want to bring it to the win, you need to dedicate most part of your time and resources for that. You need to rise up this baby. And it's really difficult to do it, and I understand it. But the thing how you can manage it is to have some other fields of interest in your life.
Right.
I mean, you need to dedicate a time for your personal relationship, for your friends, for your interest. 1 hour a day, half an hour a day, doesn't matter. But please save this space for your personality. Because if for 3 years, the only one thing that you are doing is developing your startup and sleep, not 8 hours, but 4 hours, and 20 hours you're working in your startup, you communicate only with your team. The only one thing that you're thinking about is your investment, is your cycle, is the investment cycle, is the future, and all these things. It's impossible to separate yourself and your business. And when you're thinking about your business like about yourself, it influences your decision not in a very good way. And that's what you should start with. And if you will succeed in it, if you will separate it, it will not ruin you so strongly. The fact that you are a little bit lying for investors about the reality of what's going on. Because you will understand that this is just a game. This is not me, this is my business. I'm selling it, and this is the rules of the market where I'm selling it. And that's it. Nothing personal, just a business. Another thing that you should understand about the investors, specifically if you are working in early stage investments, we are not thinking about the future of your business. They are thinking about will the late stages funds will be interested in you, and will they buy their part of your business, their shares in your business for better price. Even if you will not have a great track at that moment, or you will still not be profitable in the perspective of 10 years, but they can see how their late stage investors can find you're attractable to buy some shares that they hold right now in their head. They will be interested. And this is the tough reality as well, specifically for those founders that really, for that, their startups mean all. This is your baby, this is their everything for you. And when you really understand that these people, they're not strongly interested in your baby, they're just interested in how they can buy a part of your baby and sell it for the better price for another bad guys, in the future, it's really make you feel pain. But this is the reality. And if you're not ready for this reality, you need to prepare yourself for this, or maybe to choose another way to develop your business. Because you can, for example, focus for another strategy that don't need to use some kind of investment money. You can have some support from the government if, for example, your business goals have some match with your local government goals. And in San Francisco, for example, there are a lot of different opportunities for the small business, because our city have a strategy, they have some kind of thing that they want to create for the citizens, and they really need ambitious and amazing entrepreneurs who are ready to work on it, and they can, give you some grant, and this is absolutely another situation.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can maybe use some crowdfunding platforms, or you maybe can try develop your business step by step. Just have new clients, start with a small thing, start to sell as soon as you can. There are a lot of different strategies. If this scenario is painful for you, and for founder, if to be honest, this scenario is not always the best choice. This is something that everyone speak a lot about it, just looking for the investments, develop your technology. It's impossible without it. There are different ways to develop it. Yes, for some things, specifically in technological business, you really need some money. Yeah. But right now, God bless, we have so many options with artificial intelligence, and we can, we don't need so much money to hire the tech team to always think. A lot of things we can do by ourselves using the AI agents or, different AI tools. So you need to understand it. And also you need to think not about how to demonstrate your business in a good way, your startup pitch in a good way. You need to think about what these people are interested in, what are their field of interest, and what they want to see there. And mostly, the investors asking you about the amazing future, they want to understand two things. The first thing, of course, your ability just to make some strategic analysis. Are you okay? Are you really able to understand what's going on? Are you able to analyze the market? But the main thing that they want to understand at that moment, are you will be able to keep this long distant journey? Will you be in a good condition? In the early stage, most investors invest to the founder. It can be not their best idea. It can be not fantastic proof of concept. It can be raw enough. But if they see high potential founder, they believe that this guy or this girl will achieve the great goals because his personality really look like somebody with ambitions, with a passion, and with the ability to run the long distance. And how to run for a long distance, I've already told you in the previous part of our conversation. And if you make believe the investors that you're somebody who will keep resilience, even in very challenging periods and time, your chances will be higher. Mm. So summarize three things. First thing, separate your business from your personality. Yeah. It can be important part of your life, but it shouldn't be all of your life. And this is very important. If you find yourself that you already don't see your friends for a year, your wife and your kids forgot how you look like, please, with the small steps, as I told, for half an hour, make you to do it in spite of all. Go for a walk, enjoy, go to the museum, go to the cinema, just sleep, just allow yourself to... What's going on? Who wants the Oscar? Okay, maybe I need to watch this movie. What's going on in the reality? So just keep this balance because it will be your source, your tool. Another thing, understand that early stage investors, they don't think about mostly, of course, there are different people there, but mostly they think about the next stage investors. They think about, will this project interested the other, and they know them typically. And if they're specializing in the angel stage or earlier stage, they're playing on this market, but they know the motivation of the people on the next stage. And they're thinking about, will they buy my part? Because typically that's how they make their money. They're buying the part of your company for low price and selling it for the next guys, for a better price, for the biggest price. And another thing, and you should understand that they want to be sure that you will keep it. You will be resilient. Doesn't matter what. And that's where that's what they're focusing on. And if you will not take care about your condition, and you will not be able, to keep the pinch, so to keep the fight, your chances will increase. Did I answer for your question?
Yes, you answered it very well. Thank you so much. I know that the journey can be quite lonely a lot of times, and it's great to have advice like you have given us, and just keep the faith. It doesn't happen overnight. I know people tout overnight success, but it's not a sprint. Like Marina said, it's a marathon. So,
absolutely. With obstacles.
With obstacles, we're talking like knives, fire, and, all the sledgehammer. It's an obstacle it's healthy, but keep the faith. Take care of yourself. That came up a lot. Marina said that a lot. The foundation is you. If your foundation is cracked, the house will crumble. If your foundation is solid, you're good to go. Do not feel guilt about self-care. Whatever self-care looks like for you, burning incense, dancing, running, walking, whatever it is, playing with a pet, let that refuel you. You cannot pour from an empty cup. That is something that sometimes we forget. We give. We apply, and you wonder why you're depleted. You can't even have the strength to go up and get something to eat. So cortisol is not your friend. She brought it up. I didn't. Cortisol is a stress hormone. It wreaks havoc on the body. And that's the last thing that you want to take over. So this was very, very interesting. I wrote things down in my head that I'm going to apply because, I've learned a lot of things. And Marina, thank you for being here. Something I usually ask of my guests before they leave is to leave our listeners with a few golden nuggets. You left a lot. You left like 2 bags. But, what is the one thing that you want somebody to remember from this conversation that they listen to?
I will be very happy if you just today give your time to think about what is the best enjoyment for you in this moment, and you allow for yourself to do it.
Yay! Beautiful. Love it. And how can we find you, Marina? If somebody listening to us, they're like, you know what, psychology of business, psychology of personal growth, I need to reach out and work with her. Where can we find you?
Thank you for asking about it. So you will easily find me on LinkedIn, Marina Morgan, and the name of my company is The Morgan Impact. I have a website at themorganimpact.com. And also I'm sharing this information on my YouTube channel and as well as on LinkedIn. And so you can find me there as well. So LinkedIn, Marina Morgan, San Francisco. Also The Morgan Impact, my website with all my social medias, and the YouTube channel, Marina Morgan.
Beautiful. And also, we're going to make all of that available in the show notes so you don't have difficulties remembering which was which. We'll make sure the links are there so you can click in, go right in, read more, listen to Marina on YouTube, ask questions. She's making herself available.
Absolutely.
If you need the help, reach out, connect with her, see how you can work with Marina. I learned a lot today, and thank you for being here, Marina. It was a pleasure, and I'm grateful for your time.
Thank you for having me today.
Thank you. All right, bye, everybody. Take care of yourselves.
Thanks for tuning in to Abeg Vex Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave us a review. It really helps us out. We'd love to hear your thoughts and continue the discussion. So join us on social media or drop us a message. Until next time, keep exploring, stay curious, and keep pushing the boundaries of your world.